Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I'm going to do something just a little bit different, and I'm actually doing it for myself. I've been in a funk for the last couple of days. I've been in some pain, and I've been very depressed. I didn't want to even move today. I just wanted to just lounge around. And my depression just kind of started to get worse and worse. So I decided that instead of feeling what I was feeling, just get into the studio and forget about it for a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, when I say it's a little bit different, I'm not just fascinated by Dogman encounters or Sasquatch encounters. I have a fascination with everything strange and paranormal. Cryptids is my favorite, but just anything out of the norm. So recently I've been noticing a pattern that's been happening, and it's got me thinking about a couple of things. Now, when the Mothman was spotted during or around Point Pleasant, the bridge collapsed. Then there was the Mothman in Russia. Chernobyl happened. For the last couple of weeks, there's been a flying humanoid spotted around the O'Hare airport. And I have a feeling something is up. So to stay along that line tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share those encounters, and I'm also going to get into a couple of glitch in the Matrix events. So before we do that, let's get on to the links and then the encounters and events. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that really don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. Now, I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with these terrifying encounters and events. Shall we? We'll start today's off with some glitch in the Matrix. A few years ago, before my husband and I married, we had a friend who lived on the east side of town in a duplex with his girlfriend. They had planned a cookout with us and some friends, and all of us were out buying goods and brews to take with us. On our way over to the house, my husband and I called to see if they were home yet, but they were also on their way at the same time. We arrived first and parked on the sidewalk area and noticed an empty parking space inside the duplex lot, and figured that it would be a spot for our friends would use, so we just left it empty for them. We sat in the car watching EDM clips and show footage while we waited, and about 4 minutes had passed before we saw headlights of a car coming our way. We saw the car pull into the duplex lot and take up the empty spot. It was our friend's make and model, same tan sedan he always drove. We saw the lights go off, and my boyfriend and I started to exit our car and opened the trunk to take out the beers and steaks and what we have and walked to the duplex and noticed that the empty parking space from before was actually still empty. It didn't make any sense because we started wondering why it would be empty after we had just seen our friend's car park in it. Backlights and all, yet here it was, empty. We stood there in the parking lot looking confused and wondering what the hell just happened and recalling how we both saw them parking. My husband even recalling his friend's face in the window besides his girlfriend. As we stood there looking like idiots, we set our goods down on the concrete and tried to make sense of things. We tried to convince ourselves it was just our imagination, but sometimes lying to ourselves only makes it worse. Then it gets weirder. The same car pulled up in the same path with the same make and model, and our friends were inside of it, just as before. They pulled into the empty space and turned the car off the same exact way, and then got out of the same exact car and walked towards us to say that we had beat them to it. My husband and I were completely confused. How could the same thing happen twice in front of our eyes? All we could think is a big what the fuck, and we told them what we saw when we got into the house. They got creeped out as well, and we just decided to accept it was a glitch in the time and space. To this day, we have no other real explanation except for that one. Today's second glitch in the Matrix event. Everyone at some point eventually gets curious to sneak into cemeteries to try to spot shadows, ghosts, or, in my friend's case, try to get laid. Yeah, he was the guy who got into the cemetery with his girlfriend to smash behind a tombstone. This is his story I remember in detail. R.I.P. my friend Jesse. Hope you're smashing some hot spooks in the afterlife somewhere. He told me that he had a girlfriend who was kind of into the goth, morbid fetish lifestyle. And he was the daring type. He wasn't scared of anything, not even ghosts. We had seen plenty of them together at the law office we used to work at in the back of the building where it had been gutted, and all that remained was brick walls and empty doorways high up from the second and third floors. And I always the one to screech, Jesse just didn't care. And he would say something like, it's just some weak-ass demon or something. I'll just flash it my dick and make it go away. I would leave the back before I saw any of that. His girlfriend, on the other hand, loved seeing those things. He came back to the office one morning looking strung out, and he told me that he had been at the cemetery all night before with his girlfriend, and he smirked and said, we were smashing behind a tombstone and time froze. We literally stayed at 12:06 for like 2 hours. I thought he was bullshitting, but no, she later told me the same story, and she looked rather amused about it. Jesse isn't the only person who has experienced time loss or gain at this cemetery. Concordia Cemetery is one of the oldest and most haunted grave sites in the southwest of Texas, and every single security guard has said that they've experienced time shifts, shadow sightings, and repetitive old western gunfights by the famous buried icon, forgot the name of the gunslinger, and so much more. Concordia is really a spooky place, but if you ever want to try your luck at weird experiences, good luck sneaking in there at night. It gets pretty dark as well. I decided to go see for myself in my early college days. Go figure, college kids have nothing better to do. 3 of us jumped the wall and made sure to stay away from the security vehicle on the other side where the Jewish burial grounds were. We just did a walk around the old cemetery and goofed off under the trees. We tried taking photos of creepy-looking things to see if anything would come out. We even saw a trippy mist moving in the bottom part where the oldest tombstones were sinking into the ground. I remember looking at my phone at some point before seeing the mist, and it was a few minutes after midnight, like about 10 minutes or so. I ignored the phone time after that, and we went to the famous tombstone where if you leave a cigarette, supposedly the entity will try to smoke it and exhale. My buddy left a cigarette, and we stood around waiting to see if the ghost would start puffing it. After about 5 or 6 minutes, we saw the cigarette dying out, and we didn't see anything exciting, so we got bored and decided to leave. We saw a security vehicle driving closer to where we were, and we needed to leave. What happened was when I checked my phone right away to see if anyone had texted, the clock read 1:54. It went from 10 minutes after midnight to almost 2 a.m. in 5 to 6 minute period. Today's third glitch in the Matrix is actually mine. I've never written this down. I'm just going to go by memory. I've told a couple of friends about this, and they both think it's kind of strange. So it was the summer, and I want to say 94. I was on Mount Desert Island, and that's in Maine. Some of you may know that Mount Desert Island, there is the Somme Sound, which is the deepest sound in the East Coast. Also, it was a hot spot for scary stories during the time of the 1800s. Supposedly there was a witch of Somme Sound, and she would lure sailors into the rocky coast and crash their ships. There's a couple of other tales about this witch. I don't recall them offhand. So anyway, I'm coming from my family's home, and I'm going into town. So I'm coming from Bernard, Maine to Bar Harbor, and I'm going to hang out with some friends. We had planned on watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I was walking down this road, very quiet night, dark, very dark, and a couple of cars went by. It was about 10 o'clock at night, literally 10 o'clock. And all of a sudden, I remember seeing this bright light off in the distance on the road coming at me, almost like it was a car with their high beams on. And I remember this bright light coming closer and closer to me. The next thing I remember is showing up at my friend's house, and it was almost 2 o'clock in the morning. They had already watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show without me. I don't recall the walk. I don't recall anything. I don't remember the light passing me. I just remember that instant happening. I've talked to a few of my friends, like I stated, possible UFO. That made sense when I was younger, before I started learning about these time slips and these glitches. But now I think what happened was that I did have a glitch. Very small, very subtle, but that's 4 hours of my life that I can't recall. It freaks me out to this day. I don't get goosebumps, but it freaks me out because I don't remember anything after just seeing that bright light. And the weird thing is that I thought it was high beams, because, if a regular car is coming at you, you see two lights. This was just like one solid bright light. So it was like the high beams kicking in and just projecting that light. I don't know. And I just figured that I'd share this with you guys. I had made mention of it 2 uploads back, and I felt that it fits, because I'm sure there's lots of us that have had these glitches with a time slip that we just blow off. I've blown this off for years. I've talked about it as like a weird thing, but because nothing happened, or I don't recall anything happening, it's not this huge event in my life. But it is, because I lost 4 hours of my life, and that's very strange. So enough with me. Let's get on with these flying humanoid cryptids around the O'Hare Airport. Today's first flying humanoid around the O'Hare International Airport. This report was recently from a man who said he was standing outside of a cargo dock at the O'Hare International Airport in Chicago when he spotted a 7-foot-tall person with wings just outside of the fence by the parking lot. The sighting reportedly took place at approximately 6:30 p.m. on November 26th. Here's the report. I was at the airport picking up a load at Nippon. I was already backed into the dock, and I was standing away from the truck smoking a cigarette while they loaded my truck. I was looking towards the runway in the direction of the tunnel, and that's when I noticed something that looked like a large bird standing just outside of the fence by the parking lot. It wasn't hard to miss because 2 street lamps were nearby. It looked like a person with wings that were stretched out, flapping. It was walking away from the fence towards the open field and then began to flap its wings and disappeared. The witness stated that the creature was about 7 feet tall, using the fence as a point of reference. When asked how he was able to be so certain about its height of this creature, the driver stated he has been to this location multiple times and he estimates the fence to be about 8 feet tall. Using the fence, he was certain that the being was at least 7 feet. When asked how large the wings were, he said at least 6 feet across and black. He describes the entity as looking like a demon or a goblin. It was solid black. He states that he saw nothing that looked like eyes and assumed the creature might have had his back turned to him. He stated that it walked with a gait like a bird, and it was flapping its wings as it walked towards a large field that was by the runways and disappeared into the night. The witness also stated that when it disappeared, he quickly did the sign of the cross and asked the Virgin Mary for protection. He put out his cigarette and quickly walked back to his truck. When asked why he did that, he stated that he felt a presence that was evil and was so convinced that he had seen a demon. When asked if he had ever seen anything like that before, the witness states that he had before when he was a teenager back home in Mexico. He saw a solid black-winged creature that was circling an open field that he and other children were playing soccer in. He says that it circled the field and made a loud screeching noise before flying off into the surrounding forest. When asked if he remembered the date of that sighting, he said he doesn't remember the exact date, but a week later there was a large earthquake in Mexico City. For the record, a magnitude 8.0 earthquake that hit Mexico City was September 19th, 1985. There have been several other sightings reported in the same area, including October 30th sighting of a large winged humanoid in Park Ridge. On October 29th, a report of a winged humanoid accompanied by several other beings. On October 19th, a sighting of a giant-sized bat just outside of Edward Hotel in Rosemont. October 5th, sighting a tall creature with bright red eyes and large wings near Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. And the report from July of a 6-foot-tall creature flying over the Des Plaines River in Rosemont, Illinois. Here is the latest sighting of this red-eyed winged humanoid creature in O'Hare International Airport. This time it was sighted by a security officer. On the night of Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019, I was heading towards one of the airport cargo hubs. There are multiple hubs scattered throughout the airport. This particular one was the one located on the Express Center Drive, and it houses at least 6 cargo companies. As I was approaching the creek headed towards Montrose Ave, when I saw this large person standing down in the creek bed. I stopped, thinking it was maybe a trucker who decided to wander down there and relieve himself. I put on my lights and stopped my vehicle and was preparing to get out when this man turned towards me, and I saw two very bright red eyes. The thing appeared to be looking straight at me, and then it turned away and walked away. As it did, it unfurled a set of wings and began to flap them. It looked like a large goose when it wants to take off into the air. It took off into the air and then it was gone into the darkness. I was left there wondering what the hell had just happened and what I had seen. After I got home, I spent the next few days looking for similar sightings, and there's been many. I'm going to be blunt here. I don't believe in hobgoblins or little green men. I'm sure that there must be a rational explanation for this. I have a reputation for being grounded and level-headed. I've worked too hard to get where I am, and I am not going to have it trashed by saying I saw a red-eyed flying man. Yet, that is what I saw. This witness has worked as a security guard for the O'Hare Airport since 2003. Almost 16 years, and it most certainly would be career suicide if he reported this. So what the hell is going on at O'Hare International Airport? It makes you wonder. It really does. Jesus, I hope nothing catastrophic happens. I just hope it's maybe a fluke and these beings are just maybe migrating south for the winter. I don't know. That's very, very scary. It's creepy that the first gentleman, the trucker, had seen one in Mexico. And what's even freakier is that once again, a catastrophic event did happen after he saw that a couple of weeks later. 0.8 or 8.0 earthquake in Mexico City. I remember that. I was 9 when that happened. And wow, Jesus, I really, truly hope nothing bad happens, but it makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder. A subscriber actually, when I was talking last about these glitches and these portals, apparently, now a lot of you know I don't listen to other channels. I periodically may watch, TV or a show or something. I like to do my reporting how I do it. I like to find a story and then analyze it and then do my own little thing. So I really don't get in depth with other people's, I don't go out and buy other people's books. And I'm probably going to massacre this gentleman's name. And I'm sure a lot of people will say, this is how you say it. So let's just save that. Don't do it. Because, I already know I'm going to say it wrong. But David Paul Deans, or however you say his last name, I don't need to be corrected because it really doesn't matter that much to me. But I guess in his book, Missing 411, he was accompanied by some scientists, and apparently during or around these missing people, or wherever they became missing, there's been magnetic reports or magnetic fields, and that could, explain a portal possibly being there. It's just very interesting because I truly don't read other people's stuff. I like to, if I do, I like to read and then I'll make my own assumptions like I do here every night. But I'm so intrigued now. And I'm gonna talk about this one story that I heard a while back, where this hunter was out hunting by the Skinwalker Ranch, and he saw a portal open up, and this thing fell out of the freaking sky. He immediately took off. So there's no telling how many fell out, what the hell it was, if anything happened during or after that portal closed, opened, because he just took off. I wish I had a freaking $1 million, because this summer, when I'm 100%, and I'm going to be 100%, I'm just dealing with this depression. I'm gaining weight slowly. I'm feeling physically a little better, I guess. I don't know. But I'm literally making a list of places that I want to go, and Skinwalker Ranch is one of them. I wanted to go to the Bennington Triangle. It's only an hour and 10 minutes from my house. Some historical paranormal sites I want to check out. I guess I want to be the next real deal Zach Baggins. Well, not really. I want to be Jeff Nadolny and actually be real about it. I'm not saying he's not real, but there's some things that are scripted, I'm sure, and he's admitted to it. But I just want to go out, and I want to freaking do this, man. Like, damn it. I hate money. Ugh. I just want to go, and I just want to just research and just continuously update and make these videos and just do it, because it's just a passion now. It's an obsession. It's a passion and obsession, and I love it. And I love sharing my thoughts with you guys, because you guys kick ass. And I really like that you guys share your input with me, like that subscriber who wrote about that 411 thing. I'm not even going to attempt to say the guy's last name again, because it doesn't matter. I don't know how to say his last name. People don't know how to say my last name, so I'm not going to care. It's just my last name, but his research is amazing, Jesus. But wow, there's some strange shit going on, especially right now with this thing flying over the O'Hare Airport, and within 100-mile radius. So, and it's been going on for, God, I want to say at least a year, maybe two. Look at all those sightings last summer. Not this summer past, but the summer prior, with the sightings in Chicago. Something big might be working its way. It might be I don't know, just festering and coming to a head. And God, I hope it's not. I really hope it's not anything bad. I pray for that. But anyway, enough of my silly ranting and rambling. I sound like some guy that probably should be in a padded room and giving the old Thorazine shuffle. Anyway, with that, I want to bid you guys farewell.